So, crop mood is out, crop mood is out, crop mood is out, and it's insane. I've never seen the Magic Lantern forum on the Facebook group come alive this much as it has over the last couple of days. Everyone's so excited about this, and you should be, because it's an amazing feat by Bilal. What he's done, the way he's reprogrammed ML and on the EosM, absolutely amazing. Not just for the EosM, but it's for other cameras as well, 650Ds, 700Ds, etc. But most of the users on the group obviously are using the Canon EosM. Now, for you that don't know what crop mood is the new software for the Canon EosM and other cameras that use Magic Lantern. Now, it essentially is the same Magic Lantern software under the hood, but he's revamped it, revived it. So a lot of the problems that we had from the past, whereas if you're recording in certain resolutions, you get a lot of flickering on the screen and a lot of funky stuff going on. Even though it's still recording an image fine, you get a lot of crazy stuff going on the screen. It didn't really feel polished. That's no disrespect to Dan. What Dan has done is absolutely amazing, and I know Bilal has worked on some of those previous builds as well. Absolutely stunning. But we've got to a point now where it really did need to go to the next level to get the UI up to scratch and everything working. But all of those frame issues that we had before, when you're in certain modes and you only get a frame by frame picture, all of that jittery stuff, pretty much all of it is gone now in near enough every single mode. There's a couple of modes where it still exists, but most of the stuff is all live view. What you're recording is what you get, and it's absolutely amazing. It was the last step for me in using my EosM as a proper C cam, you know, or going out with it and recording stuff, because like I said, it all feels polished now. Amazing. Now, some people have been able to get it to work, some people haven't. When I first tried it, it was a bit jittery for me. There was a few things that I had to understand in terms of overexposing and when the sensors feed in too much light. There was a few things to understand and a few workarounds which I found myself. And, you know, Bilal said he's going to fix all of those issues when he comes back from, you know, his time off, because he has put an incredible amount of work into this. And, you know, he done a fundraiser, and thank God we reached a fundraiser total, which I'm surprised it actually took so long, considering that there's 5,000 people in the group. Why did it take 5,000 people in just the Facebook group alone, not even mention the forum, to reach like $2,100? I mean, we only had to put in like, what, 50 cents each or 50 pence each, and we could have tripled that amount. Anyway, I digress. I don't want to get no one mad. But yeah, so it's out now, and I've been testing it for the last couple of days. There's a few things that I found that were a bit janky. Bilal jumped on those, he fixed them all straight away, and a couple of other issues which I don't find as issues anymore, because I found permanent workarounds that once you set them once, they kind of just live, you know, on the camera. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So stress testing it, I've noticed that the camera runs about 10 degrees warmer than what it did do on the previous builds. Now that's not a problem for me because I use a M Lite, which has got an integrated fan, but it's something to be aware of if you do use an EosM in its normal body. And the second thing is it is more sensitive to light. So when you got an overexposed image or you got a lot of light coming in, your camera icon might turn red. But we're going to talk about ways to kind of overcome that anyway. But you just need to be aware of that. Now, I said to Bilal on the group that couldn't we just implement the way that the camera read raw data as it was before, like the way Dan did it? And I got a few responses from a few different people saying that Dan's way was absolutely amazing, but it was reading the data differently from Bilal's. So, you know, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not too sure. I don't really want to get into that. That's for the devs to talk about. I'm not a dev, so, you know, I'm just a user. So I'll let them talk about that. But there is ways to have it. I have, you know, 14-bit RAW in 1080p recording, whether it's overexposed or not, it works fine. With 5K, I dropped down to 10-bit, and I'm still getting the same kind of performance as what I was before, apart from the heat, that it does generate a bit more heat. But yeah, it's working fine, absolutely amazing. So, as I said, I've done a lot of stress testing to see how long it would run for, tried to break it, tried to get it to stop recording, but everything's been great. So let's just jump into my settings now and we can take a look at those. Hopefully they work for you if you're having any issues. If they don't, then back to the forum you go and asking more questions and more stress testing. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so let's jump into this now because there's a few things we've got to cover, and please pay attention because I hope I don't lose you on this, because it's not in depth. I'm a very simple guy. I like my stuff very simple. So I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. All right, so we've got Magic Lantern up here. You can see it's running, okay? Now there's a few things that we have to do first before we do anything at all. Now, most of this stuff is covered in Bilal's video, so I'm definitely not going in depth on this. You need to watch his video, watch it again, and then watch it one more time, okay? And then follow the install process as you do it. So start from a clean install, format your card, low format if possible, and just start from a nice clean card, a nice clean install, and you should be okay. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to go to the Canon menu, okay? And then the first thing Bilal recommends is go to image quality and set that to RAW, because he said that that helps with the Magic Lantern and the EosM to write RAW files. Now, the second thing I want you to do is go to the AF method and change your AF method to either FlexiZone AF or the tracking, okay? When I had mine in this bottom one here, the center focus, I found that my live view in 1080p was freezing, but changing it to FlexiZone AF, the second option, and tracking, released it, and I could frame up nicely, press record, and everything was working really nice. So I suggest you do that. Now, this works well for me because I only manual focus. Whether I'm using a electronic lens or a manual lens, this works well for me. Bilal said that if you're using a electronic lens and you try to do autofocus, it will kick you back into the flexi zone, and then you'll get the frozen live view or black. So try to use manual focus until Bilal fixes that, which he said he's going to do. So those are the two things you need to do: AF method, flexi zone or tracking, and then you need to go to the change it to RAW video, okay, image quality to RAW. That will help you. Okay, so let's go back to the Magic Lantern menu now. Going into the Magic Lantern menu, if we press down on the trash and hold it, there's a few things that we need to enable to get this for us working. Now, the first thing is we want the modules. Now, Bilal has covered all this, but I'm just going to quickly gloss over it. Crop Rec, you need to enable. MLV Light, MLV Play, MLV Send, and SD UHS. And then he also says to enable dual ISO. If you use dual ISO, you'll need to do that. I don't use dual ISO, so I don't need that. There's nothing else enabled here. That's all you have to do, okay? Just these ones here and maybe dual ISO. Going over to the debug menu, SD overclock at 240 megahertz. Now, important note, Bilal said that using the old 95 megabytes per second SD cards will give you a better write speed, maybe around 80 to 90. Using the newer SanDisk Extreme Pro with the 170 read speeds will be slightly slower at 70 to 80 megabytes per second. I use an older one. I do get 70, 77 around that, but it's absolutely fine. I can record indefinitely in 5.2K and in 1080p. It's no problem for me. And then if we come over to the movie record tab, you need to have the crop mode enabled and the raw video enabled and movie tweaks. I think movie tweaks is enabled by default, but just in case, you need to have those enabled, okay? So that's it. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to raw video and we are going to set the small hacks to more. Then I want you to enable this right here, which is Kill Global Draw. Please turn this on. Kill Global Draw. Now what this does is when you're recording, it's going to stop all the info on the screen. The only thing you're going to be left with is an icon to tell you the health of your camera, whether it's red and it's about to stop recording and it's under pressure, or whether it's green or orange when it's okay. You must have Kill Global Draw. That's going to give you so much more mileage in your raw recordings. Okay, so let's come out of here and we'll go back into the menu and let's press menu here. And that's it really. So all we need to talk about now is how to change the modes and the bit rates and stuff like that. So crop mode, how do we switch between the anamorphic modes of 1080p and so forth? Right, so on here, when we're on crop mode, we just press the OK button in the middle. Then we have the one-to-one crop, which is your 2.5K, your 2.8K, 3K, stuff like that. No pixel binning, no skipping in this mode. So the image is very clean, okay? If we press down, we go to the anamorphic section, reads all vertical pixels, reduces aliasing. This is where we do our 5.2K, the highest resolution, the 5K, all of that kind of stuff is in here. And then in the bottom one, 3x3, is where we got our 1080p and the experimental high frame rate options. And the experimental high frame rate options actually work really nice, really, really nice. So let's start off with the one-to-one crop, okay? Press OK and you can see that we've got, we're in 2.8K one-to-one. Now, instead of pressing set to go in here, I want to press the play option. And then you can, if we go to the top, you can see the preset 2.8K. To choose other options, we just press OK here, and then we can go into 2.5K, 3K, etc., etc. So once we've chosen which we want, if we look down the bottom, it tells us which frame rates are available. So in this particular mode, 2.5K, we've got 23.976, which I'm just going to call 24 from now on, 24, 25, and 30. Now, in some of these options, not all of them are lit up, okay? In this one, I think we're good. Let's go down to, yeah, all of these are pretty good, apart from when you come down to full res, it's at 3 frames per second, but you can see the resolution is very high. If you see here 1440, you can see you can't do 30 frames per second here. So sometimes you might not get the frame rate that you want, so you're just gonna have to, you know, decide which is worth it to you. So let's just use 2.5K. And then you can see the aspect ratio is changed here. There's no point in changing that in here because it doesn't do anything. It's set, it is what it is, just leave it as that. Frame rates, if we press the OK button on frame rate, we can choose here between different 24, 25 and 30. I'm in UK, so I'll leave it on 25, and then obviously the bit depth. Very easy, simple as that. Advanced at the bottom, we don't need to go into there. Shutter range, I kind of just leave that as it is. And then that's it really. So let's go back one on here, and we'll go into the anamorphic mode. So come back to the movie tab, press OK, and then go down to 1:3, press OK, and then you can see we're immediately in 5K. Now, if I want to change to 5.2K, instead of pressing the OK button, I'm going to press the play button. And then you can see we're in 5K at 220. Now, imagine if I wanted to go to, you know, I don't know, 5.2K. If I press the OK button here, you can see that we've got highest, higher, and medium. Now, if I come down here, let's say I'll go to medium, what's going to happen is it's going to change the preset to 4.2K. It didn't give me any options for 5.2K because we don't do it from there. So let's go back into the preset, press OK, go to highest, leave it on that one because that's what we want. And then we come down to the aspect ratio. And if I change the aspect ratio to 2.35 to 1, that gives me the 5.2K. Frame rate, I can't change anything. Only, you can see it's only 24 frames works here. And bit depth, 10 bit is what I usually recording. So let's just try this one out now. So if I just back out of here. And what a lot of people are having problems with is they said that it stops recording after a few seconds. So if I just press record now, you can see the little camera icon which I was talking about. So if you make sure you do that, enable that, kill global draw in the raw tab menu, and then you can still get the icon. So if I overexpose this now, let me just bring this exposure right up. You can see that it's still green. Now that's not to say sometimes, as you can see there, it just turned orange. You can see that. So I know that I'm still in a safe area, but I'm overexposed. And a lot of people are having problem with the overexposure. So if it was overexposed like that, obviously you're not going to shoot like that anyway. So just turn your exposure down, and then you'll see you'll get a nice green camera icon and everything's working absolutely fine. There's no problems there. Absolutely amazing. So let's stop that recording. But you see the way the UI is just so much more snappier now, how it's cleaner, none of that glitching out crazy stuff, but it's so much cleaner now, it feels really polished. Let's go back into the menu, press the bin down, and then we're going to try the 1080p mode. So let's go into the 1080p mode. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press OK on crop mode, go down to 3:3, and then you can see we've got 1080p here. Now I'm going to press the play button to go into the settings, and if I want to go into the high frame rate option, just come up to the preset, press OK. You can see we've got 738p HFR, high frame rate, at 2.35 to 1, and you can see the frame rate is at 57 FPS and I'm on 10 bit. And let's just see what happens when I record using these settings here. So let's come out of here, and I'm going to press record now. And you can see he's red there, boy. Woo! Under pressure. But good, you can see it's flicking between green and orange. It's not too bad, not too bad at all. Obviously I don't want to underexpose, but if I turn the exposure down a little bit, that would help. Not too much. Actually, it looks like it's got worse a bit. So let's turn the exposure back up and see what happens. Okay, orange is still good. At least it's not yellow or red. So it's working extremely great in my opinion. You can see the right speed there is a little low, but trust me, I've tried this out. It's good, it's stable, it's nice. This up right on there so I'll kind of fill that whole screen and see what happens if it turns red. Yeah, still looking good here. Still looking good. So that's the high frame rate option. So let's stop that. And then we'll go back into the 1080p mode. And let's come down to crop mode. And then we're going to press play here. So that's a 738p. Yeah. So if I go back into that crop mode, and then you can see we're on 2.35 to 1. So what's going to happen now if I change this aspect ratio? Because you can see at the bottom I'm allowed to change the aspect ratio. So I'll press OK to go into aspect, go into 16:9, and then you can see that the HFR, the high frame rate, has actually increased the quality at 976. And then you can see that we've dropped the frame rate down to 46. So the frame rate has actually gone a bit lower, okay? But we are getting a higher quality. So let's come out of there. So let's come out of here and then we'll see what happens with the recording. Let me turn the exposure down a bit on that first, and then let's hit record and then see if it starts going crazy. So still not too bad. Better quality, still orange, still working well. No problems there. Let me fill up the frame with this a bit in the middle. Not bad at all. Let's see if we can get this to turn red by overexposing. Yeah, it's turned red. Let's bring this down so it doesn't stop recording. And yeah, you can see it's still quite overexposed, but you know, we've got a good orange there. Okay, so that's it. Let's come out of that one. And then we're going to go into the normal 1080p now. And if I press and hold the trash can down, and then we press play on crop mode, we come up to preset, press the set or OK button, and then we've got 1080p. And here, you can see the aspect ratio doesn't work, I believe, and then we're going to change to 14-bit on this one. And that's all set. So let's come out of here, and this should give us the maximum view on this. Let me refresh that just to make sure. Okay, good, we're looking good. So let's see what happens if we record now. All green, lovely jubbly. Even if I overexpose, it should stay green. Everything's blown out there in the middle. Still green. So 1080p and 14-bit is still extremely reliable. And let's stop that. Hopefully, you know, there's some more demos that come out that are a bit more in depth. You know, I just wanted to show you my settings and the minimal changes that I made to get a good recording and how you change modes in the movie tab. And just last thing I want to say from here now is if we go into raw video, press play, my sound recording is on 11 kilohertz, okay, my sampling rate. You can obviously go up to 48, should still give you a good leeway, you know, in terms of recording, but I choose 11 because I don't really use this for audio myself, but, you know, just wanted to show you that just in case it's another thing that you can do. Now there is a lot more to know about crop mode. So for instance, the focus pixel maps aren't installed yet, so those will be coming soon to enable you to get rid of any focus dots and stuff you might have. And I'm sure that there's a few more things coming that will help you to get nice clean footage. So keep your eyes on the forum or the Facebook group, and all kind of topics are being discussed there. So just jump over there, learn as much about it as you can. Read every post about crop mode that comes up, because I'm sure you're going to learn a lot and it will help you get some trouble-free shootings. Thanks guys for watching, enjoy shooting, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.